Want to understand spoken Israeli Hebrew better? Want to sound more like a native Israeli? You're in the right place. Today, I'm going to talk about the Israeli contraction of et, ha, arguably the most common contraction native Israelis use in everyday speech. Hi, it's Noya from ulpan, here to boost your listening comprehension in Israeli Hebrew and help you sound more like a native. Before I jump into explaining the contraction and showing you some examples from Israeli TV, YouTube, and podcasts, I want to quickly clarify something. When I say contraction, I'm talking about a word, phrase, or any other part of speech that native speakers often pronounce with one or more sounds cut off. This use of contractions is part of what I call Israeli or Israeli Hebrew, the everyday spoken Hebrew used by native Israelis, which is different from proper standard Hebrew. It's one of the main reasons why Hebrew learners struggle to understand everyday Israeli speech. That's why it's so important to learn and practice these contractions. Mastering them will improve your listening comprehension. Whether you want to take your conversations with native speakers to the next level, understand more when watching Israeli TV, listening to podcasts or the radio, or in any situation where you rely on your ears to understand what people are saying. This skill will make a big difference. And not only will it help your listening, you can also adopt this contraction in your own speech to sound more like a native. It will make you faster, more effective, and more fluent when speaking. And here's a bonus. The closer you sound to a native, the better your ears will get at picking up native speech. So, how does the et, ha contraction work? First of all, what is et, ha? Et is a preposition that connects a verb to a definite direct object. Ha is the. So, for example, a sentence like, I see the house, in Hebrew would be, I see et the house. Ani roa et habayit. And the contraction, it's actually very simple. What native Israelis often do to speak faster and more smoothly is they contract et, ha, into ta. So, in everyday speech, instead of ani roa et habayit, we would often say, ani roa tabayit. Ani roa tabayit. Now, if you're not familiar with this contraction, you might hear it and think it's a word you've never heard before. Tabayit? מה זה tabayit? Et habayit. You see how this can affect your understanding? So now that you've seen how it works, let's look at some real-life examples from Israeli media. We'll begin with a clip from an episode of the excellent podcast by Daniel, Dushi. In this episode, he hosts the fascinating Yehezkeli, a journalist and commentator on Arab affairs. Watch this.
אתה יודע, אני בוער, כי אמרתי את הדברים האלה.
אמרתי את הדברים האלה. I said these things. את הדברים האלה. In standard Hebrew, this would be אמרתי את הדברים האלה, as you probably learned at the ulpan. But he says,
אמרתי את הדברים האלה.
אמרתי את הדברים האלה. אמרתי את הדברים האלה. Now let's look at a clip from a great Israeli TV series called שישה, אפסים, 6 zeros.
שאלות? כן. מתי מקבלים את הכסף?
מתי מקבלים את הכסף? When are we getting the money? את הכסף. Israeli Hebrew, instead of et hakesef, proper Hebrew. This other character, who's off screen, asks if anyone has any questions.
שאלות?
And this guy answers, yes, when are we getting the money?
כן. מתי מקבלים את הכסף?
He actually uses another contraction here, in the word getting, מקבלים. He eliminates the e vowel sound at the beginning of the word, the me part, and says, מתי מקבלים, מתי מקבלים. Instead of מתי מקבלים.
מתי מקבלים את הכסף?
I call this dropping, when the vowel sound at the beginning of a word is completely dropped in fast natural speech. Moving on to watch a few seconds from a speech that Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu gave at a press conference.
אנחנו נלחמים כדי להבטיח את הביטחון שלנו לדורות.
אנחנו נלחמים כדי להבטיח את הביטחון שלנו לדורות. We are fighting to ensure our security for generations to come. In standard proper Hebrew, this would be להבטיח את הביטחון שלנו. But Bibi says,
את הביטחון שלנו,
את הביטחון שלנו. Notice that even Bibi, a highly skilled speaker with excellent diction, speaking here in a very formal setting, even he uses this contraction. That shows you just how common it is and how it crosses age groups, situations, communities. It's really worth learning and mastering. This next example is taken from a panel discussion show on Israeli current affairs called hapatriotim, the Patriots, from Channel 14.
זה שכל האנשים שכל הזמן קוראים בשבועות ובחודשים האחרונים להפסיק את המלחמה,
כל האנשים שכל הזמן קוראים בשבועות ובחודשים האחרונים להפסיק את המלחמה. All the people who've been constantly calling in recent weeks and months to stop the war. להפסיק את המלחמה. Instead of להפסיק את המלחמה, which is probably the only form you'd learn at the ulpan from a textbook or an app. Our last clip is from an episode of the podcast לבריאות Mami, produced by Maccabi, one of the major healthcare providers in Israel, hosted by the wonderful and hilarious יעל פוליאקוב. Let's watch.
היי מורן, נורא שמחות שאת פה. אנחנו רוצות אם אפשר את הוואטסאפ גם אחרי זה, להיות בקשר הדוק.
אנחנו רוצות אם אפשר את הוואטסאפ גם אחרי זה, להיות בקשר הדוק. We'd like to also get your WhatsApp after this, if possible, so we can stay closely in touch. את הוואטסאפ. Instead of the standard Hebrew, את הוואטסאפ.
אנחנו רוצות אם אפשר את הוואטסאפ גם אחרי.
Got it? So next time you're asking someone for their WhatsApp number, you can say it like a native Israeli. אפשר את הוואטסאפ שלך? אפשר את הוואטסאפ שלך? And if you happen to watch my video about the contractions of the preposition של, you know that also the last word in the sentence, שלך, is often contracted by native speakers to שלך. So the question would sound like this. אפשר את הוואטסאפ שלך? Can I have your WhatsApp? אפשר את הוואטסאפ שלך? Again, this is great both for improving your listening comprehension of Israeli Hebrew and for helping you sound more like a native Israeli. That's it for today, my dears. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you feel like you've taken another step forward toward your goal of communicating like a native Israeli. If so, please like and subscribe. Try to catch this contraction when you hear Israelis speaking, whether in real life or in the media. And if you're ready to take it to the next level, start using it yourself when you speak. See you in the next video.